I don't think we can zoom in on this.
Mm-mm.
That's good enough. Hello, hello, family. Welcome, welcome. We're going to give people an opportunity to come on in. Hello, hello, family. We're coming on in. Today we're going to talk about some wonderful Orisha symbology. So I'm going to give you all an opportunity to come on in. Welcome. It's so great to see you, sharing some time with me. Great to see you. Let's come on in, family. Just going to give people an opportunity to come in for a few minutes. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to talk about some symbolisms. I'm really focused on doing a whole series of this. I've already have it ready. I'm so grateful for that. And wanting to share with you today how we can reimagine all these different symbols that we see all over and how they apply to us in our life, where we actually see Orisha, see different energies, maybe even see disciples in addition to different Orishas, but disciples also represent different aspects of how humans need assistance and how humans are assisted by the divine. And so today, come on in, family. Come on in. Welcome, welcome. It's so great to see you all. Thank you for spending a few minutes with me. Today, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this. Here goes another one. Here goes another one. And this moves, which is fascinating, right? Bow and arrow. The bow and arrow. First, I want to thank you all for coming and spending some time with me. I'm Elemi of Yeyeo Botanica and Spirit in You, and I get so much inspiration, right? I've been practicing spirituality for a very long time and being ordained in various practices, and I love the inspiration, wonderful inspiration that I'm given by Spirit on a regular basis. By Spirit, by Orisha. And I kept saying, well, what do you talk about for lives, right? What do you talk about for lives? Oh boy. This always happens to me. And oh boy. Okay, family. This always happens to me. I do something crazy and then I can't see how to get out of it and how to end the message. Swipe left to close. There we go. Reading is fundamental. So today I've been thinking for a while, like there's so many things to talk about. For me, I could be here all day talking about all kinds of wonderful subjects. And I've been thinking for a while, just because I teach this on a regular basis, what are some of the symbols that are used that a lot of times, especially Orisha, which are people who are uninitiated in the Yoruba faith, Orisha tradition, or Orishas, people who are ordained, but just in the world in general, because you don't need to be an Orisha priest, you don't need to be an Orisha tradition to appreciate the symbols and the messages and the help that just things in nature have. And so I've been really spending some extra special time with the warriors. I feel like they're very, very strong this year. They're always strong and they're always important. But this is a symbol, one of the symbols, if you can see that, one of the symbols for the Orisha Ochosi, right? Which is a bow and arrow. I'm showing you with this background because it can be a little difficult to see here, right? And this is a one-sided bow and arrow. And we're going to talk about them a little bit. And this one is the bow and arrow with the whole composite that you would, you pull this section back and this one moves, right? And of course, we can have a bigger conversation about the trident. And this will be on a different conversation. I don't know if we're going to really get into the trident today, but we definitely have the bow and arrows, right? And so, I mean, the bow and arrows in every practice, no matter where people are, this idea of the arrow, right? And so let's talk a little bit about what do these symbols really mean? There are times where people think that it's only germane to people who are in particular practice. I mean, really, the bow and arrow is everywhere. It means action. Let's get to action. Let's get things going. Let's go find and seek and bring back what belongs to us. See, I love arrows. Thank you. Before I get into it, you guys know I'll just get all carried away. I want to see where people are from today. Let me shout you out. I want to shout out. All my people from Arkansas. Right? We have a few people. I had Virgin Islands earlier, India. Hey, Cuban living in India. New York, Brooklyn in the house, Mississippi in the house. Let's see, we've got Omaha in the house. Hey, Carteret, Jersey, Chicago, Canada. Hey, Cape Town. One of my godchildren's moving to Cape Town. We've got North Carolina, Mexico City, Hawaii. So wonderful to see you all. We've got Tennessee, Virginia, Kansas City. We got San Antonio, Texas, Wisconsin. Thank you for the wonderful gifts. I'm loving them. Thank you very much. We got Nashville, Virginia, North Carolina, Kentucky. All right. Puerto Rico. Man, this is fantastic. All over the world and many places that I have traveled to. So this is fantastic. So getting back to this idea of the bow and arrow, I wanted to share with you all that when we think about the Indian, right? And in the Northeast or in North America, I would say, Abidjan. Wow, you guys are really from all over the place. When we hear about this idea of hunting, right? The first concept about hunting, I think that this has been since humans have been on Earth, they've been hunting something, right? And animals hunt as well, right? So anything that you would say is alive or is seeking is hunting. We hunt, or we could be hunted. You can hunt, or you can be the hunter, right? But the objective, I think, is still the same, whether or not you are a hunter or the person or situation is to hunt or to be hunted. The idea of hitting the target, the idea of getting it and bringing it back, right? And so in spirituality, this concept, I think people kind of not really realize that the source, God, Olodumare, whatever it is that you call your creator, right? Whatever it is that you call your creator is already showing us through nature that we need to go get it. You know, I think it's interesting. There are people who are like, oh, you know, Elemi, this is not happening. These things are going on in my life. Let's say, as an example, I'm looking for an apartment, hunting. Looking for a new job, hunting, right? Looking for more money, hunting, right? We're doing this all the time. And only one thing at a time can fit on the head of the arrow, right? Only one thing at a time can fit on the head of the arrow. Only one thing at a time can fit on the head of an arrow. So when we think about that, right? I had a piece of paper. When we think about that, we don't even realize that we're doing exactly the same thing. This is why I said, looking for a job, hunting, looking for a new place to live, hunting, looking for a new lover, hunting, right? This is something that humans and animals do. And you could have a longer conversation about humans and animals, but we do it all the time. And so in our spirituality, we have these tools and we're just not recognizing the level of accessibility to resolutions to our problems, right? We're not recognizing our accessibility, right? The triangle is thought of as the strongest geometric symbol in the world, the triangle. And we're talking about the arrow, right? These concepts, I don't know if you guys are into these concepts or not. If you are, definitely give me a thumbs up. If you're like, whoa, you're going too far, Elemi, we're not ready for that on a live, definitely tell me that too. So I'll know, oh, this is too much. We'll have to wait for like classes or trainings for that, right? So what is happening when it's time to shoot a bow and arrow? What is happening? It's this pulling back, right? It's premeditated. We're thinking about it. We're like, oh, what is it that I need to do? I need to focus. Nobody's going to throw a bow and arrow without focusing, right? This is one of the reasons why we sell the focus candle, right? Because if you not focus, where are you going? How are you going to hit the target? How are you going to bring back what it is that you need, right? How are you going to hunt without knowing what you're hunting for? This is like, it's time to make a prayer as an example, right? Time to make a prayer. And I love this. I love this. So I get someone who will be like, I don't know what's going on in my life. I feel really stuck. I don't really know what to do. And I say, well, what do you want to do? What is it that you need? I need a job. I said, well, anybody can get you a job. You can go on the sidewalk and go sweep the sidewalk for a job. I mean, anybody can get a job. Whether or not it's a job that you really want, whether or not it's a job that can really pay for what you need is a different story, right? And so I'm going to continuously tie this back to spirituality. This idea of being clear is being focused, focus, 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 the top of the arrow. That's what it's saying. Get focus, the top of the arrow, right? Because this can only hit one thing. Symbolism. That can be very helpful for all of you, especially people who have altars in their home. There's wonderful ways to do arrow magic. Wink, wink. I'm going to do that real slow. Like petition and an arrow. Everything is magical in my world. Everything is magical. What a life I have. Every single thing is magical to me. So what does the Indian do? And I'm using the word Indian not in a way that is negative, but around the world, people assume that American Indians, whether it be the United States, Central America, South America, that they're into hunting. They're hunters. They use a bow and arrow. Indians in India don't have that connotation. I'm just using this generally speaking, no offense to anyone. But when we see people using the bow and arrow, well, the arrow can kill someone. It can disable an animal. It can cut down fruit. It can hold maybe one or two things on it at a time. It moves through air. This is something solid moving through air, and it's used with intention, right? So we're going to talk about all different types of symbology, because no one's going to sit there and be like, oh, I don't know where I'm going to hit a target, I'm just going to use it. No, that doesn't happen. So if we're thinking about these symbols around us, it's saying you need to get clear. You need to get your mind right. You need to get focused, right? By saying, oh, I just need a job. Well, you're going to get something that then you're going to turn around and go, oh, that's not the kind of job I wanted. Why? Because the intention, the time of thinking, the time of really doing that analysis, that work for yourself to help you to get where you need to go, so that your Ori, your higher self, and whatever affirmative prayers that you may make an intention, you may make a affirmation, you may make a prayer, that you can pull these things together for it to make sense, right? And the Orisha Ochosi in the Yoruba Ifa tradition, or in Orisha worship, this is his thing, right? Anyone who has warriors, they know Ochosi, the hunter, the one who is going to be the mastermind to help you find what you need. Ashe, oh my God, that's so lovely. This is a fantastic comment. The prayer hands is also a triangle, right? And is an arrow. And where's the arrow? Going north, right? How come it's not going this way or south or over here or whatever? And it's in alignment with the Ori. Thank you so much for sharing that. Lovely. I think I want to bite that one. I think I'm going to have to use that one again. So I want to see if anyone's telling me that this is just too deep and too much information. I haven't seen any of those yet. Let me see. Oh boy, that's a big one. I mean, you could get him out of the neighborhood. You just have to do a lot more than maybe you may want to. What does it mean to hear some has your I don't know what that means. Okay. Well, that's good. This is not too much. Just because, I kind of feel like there's so much online that's played out. Not for nothing. I think there's a lot of it's just played out. People just talk some of the stuff. People, I'm like, I can't. Right. And maybe just because I'm at a point where I have learned so much in terms of from spirit and in doing spiritual work. And I see on a daily basis people coming into their spirituality and coming into their spiritual journey and coming into a place of learning and growth, which is fantastic, right? This is a place of empowerment. M, 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 empowerment, right? To empower yourself with knowledge, with opening your eyes to seeing that all around you, the source is showing you ways, showing me ways to level up, to open our eyes, right? The Orisha Olokun says, open your eyes. To see the world as it is and not the way you want it to be. Anyone who want me to talk about that in another life, definitely tell me. This is just so delicious to me all the time. The Orisha Ochosi is one of the warriors in the Lukumi system. In traditional Isheshe or Isheshe in Nigeria, Ochosi is looked at slightly differently in some respects than in Lukumi. And for the sake of conversation, I'm going to talk about Lukumi, which is Orisha worship through the Ifa tradition here in the New World, right? And so even if you're not into any of that, the concepts and the messages are extremely helpful to open your mind, right? And which is why I say that in our spirituality, the source has given us the answers. We have to look at what cues work for us. We have to look at how we interpret the divine as it pertains to the way that our worldview is, right? And so if your worldview is indigenous, you're going to look at it from an indigenous lens. If it is much more Anglo-Saxon, you're going to look from that lens. If you're just out here practicing spirituality and trying to really internalize elemental work, then that's going to be your perspective. I think it's very interesting, right? Oh, it burnt out. Where's the other one? This idea of the triangle, like that was great with the hands, right? These are cone incense because I own a Botanica and I love everything spiritual. I own a Botanica and I love everything spiritual, right? This is like candy to me. This is a cone incense. Again, what is it? Triangle. What does it have? Point. When the flame goes, it goes up. If you notice in life, you don't see oftentimes that the hunter has a bow and arrow that he's pulling back or she's pulling back and is trying to hit something on the ground, right? It's north, it's east, west, it's far away, right? And so this concept of far away goes back to how do we think about focus, intentionalize ourselves to where we're trying to go, right? I think that a lot of times there's a little bit of analysis, right? There's a little bit of analysis that we as people sometimes kind of leave out of our spirituality, leave out. And in my world, God is logical. Spirituality has a lot of logic. And I think that people who kind of tap into that logic really well, or tap into that logic with an understanding for themselves, will definitely get, thank you, will definitely get a lot more out of their journey, a lot more out of what it is that they need to do or think about to really enjoy their own spiritual journey. Because the first thing that I always hear also, even when I do readings, as an example, you know, um, I always tell people the one word, don't give me the one word, right? Not to be rude, but to be saying, be specific, right? You get into a cab, right? Now we have Uber. And so when you get into Uber and you're like, oh, I want to go to this place, or a Lyft, I want to go to that place. So when by the time the car comes, you're like, bam, you know where I'm going, I know where I'm going, right? But before this became popular, and so for all of you who this is all you know, this doesn't apply to you. But I think that you're going to still get the concept. People who were around before there was Uber, which is maybe most of us who are on here, you had to actually say where you're going. In New York City, when I lived in Manhattan, you get in a cab and the first thing the driver goes, where are you going? Right? You don't get into a cab and just sit there and a driver, okay, we're just going to sit here and just run up the meter. They're like, where are you going? Oh, I'm going to go to this place. That's hitting the target. That's hitting the target. That's hitting the target. That's saying what you want, right? So even in readings, I say, well, be specific. Just don't say, hey, well, I just want to know about love. Well, what about love? I want to know about money. What about money? We could be here all day talking about that one subject. So the way that we get more out of our life, more out of our overall experience, is to be specific. Orisha Ochosi. All praises be to the Orisha Ochosi that speaks to getting specific so you can hit the target, so you can get what you want, so you can be a winner. Why? Because Ochosi is an Orisha of winning, right? There are a lot of stories in the faith about the Orisha Ochosi, right? The bow and arrow is about action, as I said before. It's about getting what you want, hitting that target, bringing back the prey, right? It's like we do this in so many different ways in our life. So I wanted to just share something about the Orisha Ochosi for those of you who are just getting into Orisha worship. Ochosi's colors are blue. Primary color is blue and yellow. As I said before, he's a hunter, definitely a forest outside deity. He works with Ogun by living in Ogun's pot, for those of the people who have warriors. He also is a part of the triad of Eshu or Elegba, Ogun, and Ochosi. And he represents, one of the biggest things that people know him to represent is justice, right or wrong, right? An arrow only picks one side. It only goes to one side, the right side or the wrong side, but it can be both, right? There's an idea of bringing back provision. Remember, we talked about using the arrow. You can even use the arrow to hunt fish, land animals, water animals, right? They have the harpoon on the boat. Well, the harpoon is just a giant arrow, right? This idea of bringing back provision, taking care of the person, making sure that they are not in lack, that anything they want can be given and renewed. think about an arrow, right? It goes into something, you can pull it out, clean it off, and use it again. Unlike a bullet, per se, that once it's used, right? In the New World, or in the diaspora, Ochosi is also thought of to deal with the justice system, to help you, as an example, have justice. If a person's going through a court case or anything like that, they can work with Ochosi, but I always advise to be mindful of working with any deity that deals with justice, because if they deal with justice, you can have an issue where afterwards they're like, well, I don't know if you were in the right. And if the person's not in the right and they're dealing with a deity that deals with being in the right, you can run into a problem, which we can discuss at another time, right? So I just wanted to give you also, for people who do have the Orisha Ochosi, some things that Ochosi takes. Loves anisette, anisette liqueur, which is one of the sweet things that he really likes. Hunter's items, deer antlers, moose antlers, anything like that. Takes fruits, likes gamey meat, rabbit, deer, all of that kind of gamey meat that can be made. Smoked meat, as an example. Roasted corn, roasted yam at times you can give him. Different types of beans for people who are into giving offerings to Ochosi and or working with him in certain ways. And there's lots of songs and invocations for him. One of them I'd like to just read a little small thing for you that may be even helpful. This is a translation, and it says, Ochosi, hunter of truth and justice, may my path be clear and my aim be true. Strike down what blocks me. Guide me to what is mine. Let your arrow carry my prayers into the heart of my destiny, right? Like, hello? Arrow, remove blocks, bring to me, get to my goal, give me provision, make me successful, and make me win. Like, really fantastic. So I hope today you got some ideas about Ochosi. And if you'd like some more talks like this, definitely let me know. Let me see if anyone still said, Elemi, this is too much. You just going too far with this now. Or let's cover another subject, because I got lots of subjects. And I really think I want to hear from you really quickly. Yeah, that's right. Berries and grapes. I'd like to find out from all of you while we're on, if you'd like to learn more about how symbology and these symbols can be used in spirituality, right? In spirituality, or how the source is showing us all the things and ideas and concepts that we can use for ourselves to be successful, right? Again, this is the bow and arrow for Ochosi, right? Put it over here. And then we've got an arrow here. I mean, we could be telling so many stories. Arrows between brothers. Ochosi's number is 2. One of his numbers is 2. Talking about duality. And usually a hunter doesn't just throw one arrow, right? It's like, boom, okay, maybe I hit the target the first time, thumbs up. But if I didn't, got to go back, right? This idea of energy and movement and action. Be here all day talking about it. So let's see if you guys would love to hear. Oh, okay, we've got someone who likes this concept of symbolism. Yes, please, very insightful. This is desperately needed. I really appreciate hearing that because, hey, you guys know I love my shout outs. I love it when you come to visit and you're like, hey, Elemi, you shouted out my town or shouted out my city. I love that. Well, thank you. It was great being here with all of you. We've got so much more to cover. Like, let me just give you guys like a sneak peek that maybe we'll cover on the next live, or just different symbols in general, right? In Orisha tradition. I'm just going to use this for a sec, my little phone case. Here, we've got a dog, right? What's that even about? How is the dog something we can talk about? Some people love dogs, some people don't like dogs. But at the end of the day, how can we show these concepts to be valuable, right? So I want to talk with you, share with you. I mean, we'd be here all day. There's so much. I want to show you even symbols in your life where we're being programmed as a society. Right? These are spiritual things that are being used to program us in different ways. Some of it is good, some of it is not. And so that's right. We're at the cusp of a new world. You know, there's a lot going on in society. And I think that the more that we become aware of what we see around us, how we become more aware of what we can and can't do, hold on. Someone asked a question right before I close. I'm going to answer this one. Ochosi's been in my feet all day. Hey, this is fantastic. That means we're right in alignment. But there was one question that someone, Shale. We are on the cusp of a new world. I do agree. I don't know where the question just went. Can you speak on Ochosi and Ogun's relationship and how they work together in the pot? Well, I can say that very briefly, right? So Ogun makes the tools, and some of those tools are used by Ochosi in addition to the doctor and so many other places, right? And so they had a truce, which we can get into a longer story, but because I'm getting ready to close the live, I don't really want to get into that whole story now. But basically, there was an agreement between Elegba or Eshu, Ogun, and Ochosi that they were going to work together to go and hunt animals together and hunt down food together. But one of them didn't have the tools, one of them didn't have the skill, one had mind, one had brawn, and so on. And so Ogun and Ochosi decided to team up together so that Ogun would make the tools and Ochosi would use the tool to spare the animal. And so that is the short version of how they come to work together. This is why the three warriors in the diaspora, Eshu, Ogun, and Ochosi, work very, very closely together. Osun is given in the diaspora as a part of the warriors, but in traditional Yoruba, Isheshe, the warriors don't even come as a unit like that anyway. But the three main ones, for the sake of this conversation, even though it's 4 warriors, and you can watch my warrior videos on this because I really kind of get into that a little bit more, where I talk about, we go through each one of the warriors and I show them to you in the video on our channel. And you can then learn more about them that way. Because Osun is a little bit different than the other 3 warriors. As an example, Osun doesn't take palm oil on a regular basis, and the other 3 do. So that's the short version to that answer, how they come to work together. One of them is the brawn, if you will, and one of them is the strategist. And Ochosi is a bit more stealthy, like if you would think of a personification of this Orisha, he's a bit more stealthy and not as dense and limber when you think about Ogun. So this whole idea of stealth and power, or stealth and ingenuity, another way to look at the warriors, the Orishas. I'm not even sure. Okay. Family, it's so great that you were here. Thank you for sharing a part of your evening with me. And I hope that today was enriching for you, really helped to start to open your eyes. And, you know, if you'd like me to continue to share some of these wonderful, wise tidbits with you, I would love to do that, because I have been blessed with wonderful, wonderful information and inspiration from Orisha. And I want to be able to share that with you, because when Orisha says do it, when Spirit says do it, I'm like, oh, yep, got to do it. And so they've said that it's time to kind of peel the onion and kind of open up people's worldview, whether or not they're interested in Orisha tradition or not. The idea of symbology, the idea of spirituality is growing exponentially. There are people who are going to church and they're burning candles, right? You know, I've read many ministers, many people who've owned churches. I've gone to many churches and removed issues and problems out of churches. So I think that we've made it such a divide, right? We've made it such a divide that we need to figure out how to bring things together, because it's in the same human, right? Same person who went to church, the same person who's taking a spiritual bath. And we try to look at these things separately, and they're really not. So be well. Be blessed. Love you all. Happy to see you all. I want to say a special prayer for, a special line for someone. Spirit is saying there's someone here that there's an issue between the mother, grandmother, and it's almost like there's a transition in the air, or this grandmother or mother figure that's like a grandmother is not doing well. We want to send out a special prayer for them. Light, energy, light and energy for this person. And I pray that whatever's going on with them is something that passes very quickly. Love you all. Good to see you. And see you soon. Ashe, ashe, ashe. And we're going to ring that bell again while we all jump off. All right, family. Have a wonderful evening. It was great seeing you. Thanks for supporting.